Welcome, listeners and viewers, to the special prom episode of the Goal is Swole podcast. I'm Elijah Vargas, the host. This is a show where we talk to students about sports, lifting, their lives outside of school, and their plans for the future. I have a background in lifting, running, and also wrestling. Today we're going to be having Anthony Mutter, and he's going to be talking about lifting, diet, our school system, and then also his plans for the future.
In 100 years, you're gonna have some robot strippers at the club. You know what I'm saying?
Hell no.
I really wanted to start my own business. I don't know what I'd create, but
Hey guys, this is the Goal is Swole podcast. I'm Elijah Vargas. Can you introduce yourself?
yeah, I'm Anthony Mutter. I'm a lifter. I like to do sports, and I'm an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur, that's cool. So we're all dressed up, and for those that know, this is prom weekend. Prom is actually today. What excites you the most about prom this year?
I think what excites me the most is probably that we get to see everybody for one last hurrah during the high school senior year.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen some of my friends in a long time since I'm a little bit into dual credit at ECC.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I was talking to Josh Grigonis, I think it was like yesterday. He was talking about how he hadn't seen any of like the dual credit kids for like since like freshman year, some of them since freshman year. And we were like, dang, like we really haven't seen some of you guys. And it's going to be crazy seeing like everyone back. And it's like, it feels like the whole community's coming back together, you know what I mean? Just for prom. And then same with graduation, everybody's going to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You graduate with us?
Yeah, I will. I'll be walking. 28th at the Now Arena.
Now arena? Yep.
That'll be awesome.
That's cool. Okay, so I want to get into like your background, kind of like your childhood. What activities did you participate in? Like whether it's like sports or anything else?
As a kid?
Yeah, as a kid.
I did baseball since I was like 4 or 5, and that really helped me get active to begin with. And then I did basketball. I started it when I was around 8 or 9. It was always in-house. I never had the money to travel, but I did the best with what I could. And I always wanted to do football when I was little, but I never had the chance to because I was just busy with way too many sports. But I think if I got into that, I could have been a little bit better. But yeah, those are the things I did when I was young.
So as a kid, what specific, if you had something specifically, what did you want to be when you grew up?
This might be surprising, I wanted to be a construction manager. I really liked architect and architectural work. Anything with building, hands-on, blueprinting, working as a team. It was really something I was working towards, and also a software engineer, just because I seen my uncle do it over the years. He's a security hacker. He works for a company that pays him to hack stuff, so I thought it was really cool growing up seeing that. That's what I wanted to do.
I think both of those occupations pay like a lot, right?
Oh yeah,
Especially
6 figures.
Yeah. Man, that's got to be awesome for him.
Mm-hmm.
So how have your dreams, like as far as like you're saying your occupations, that's what you wanted to be when you were little. How has that like progressed as you gotten older?
Well, now that I'm looking at it from a point of view of my associates that I'm trying to get right now, I really switched focus from doing architectural work to going into a business area like accounting or marketing, and that's the classes I'm taking right now at ECC, and yeah.
That's really cool. So one of the things I wanted to ask you was, the kids that are at the dual credit program. Do you make friends with people that are older than you, or are most of your friends like your age? Because I was wondering that. I don't know how that really works.
ECC is rated not too active in the social structure over there. Even on like the College Review Finder, it's a very great school. Honestly, it is, and it's very equally diverse. But there's no really social interaction over there. Many of the friends that I have made are older, but like they're very surprised when you approach them, because that's just not how it is over there.
Yeah.
Everybody usually has their own cliques.
Yeah.
Before they even get into the school, so it's kind of hard to penetrate those groups.
And because like others, I'm assuming this, but I'm not sure. a lot of the kids come from like the area, so they already made friends with people in the area, so they're coming in with friend groups. Would I be right to say that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people from like I see South Belgian people there that I
Yeah.
saw in high school for sports games or events, and they all came from a specific town.
So when did you make the move to the dual credit program?
I did it after my junior year. So senior year, it's only been 1 year. It was a full time commitment, meaning I only had classes at ECC. Some classes would have been gen ed at the high school, but I opted for a more full and lengthy development at ECC.
So I know that you guys don't have like for high school it's like class after class after class after class. How does like the structure work for dual credit?
So it's like any other college classes. I don't know if you've looked at plan registration for the upcoming semester, but the structuring of it works like you might have a class on Monday and Wednesday, and that'll be at like 12 o'clock to 1:15, and then you have another class Tuesdays and Thursdays at a different time. I've never had any classes on Fridays. That's usually when the campus closes the earliest. So it's never back to back, and it's always longer than 50 minutes per period.
Okay, so I'm assuming you get a lot of free time with that.
I do.
Okay, so before you went into the dual credit program, you were at Bartlett High School from freshman, sophomore, junior year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what activities did you do in high school?
I was really involved in sports since freshman year. I did baseball. I did that for 3 years, I think, and I did basketball for my second year. I did not. I went to tryouts, but I did not want to get on the team. It was just too much of a time commitment for me. And then football, I played my sophomore year, obviously, and I had a blast doing that. That was my first time playing like an organized football league,
Yeah.
like actually competitive, and not just some recreational sport. I loved playing basketball. That's really where my conditioning started, and I never really did cardio before that, but I learned how important that was when I did it.
I think that is cool because you were talking about before you had wanted to get into playing basketball, but now before, because here in the dual credit program you don't really play football, but you eventually made it to actually get to play football
Yeah.
with the high school, which I think is kind of cool. Would you comparing like Bartlett High School to ECC, which one would you say is more stressful?
Oh, definitely ECC. Just because at Bartlett, I'm pretty sure they disbanded the curriculum where you had to have finals.
Yeah, they did.
So it was technically what we like to call illegal to do finals at the end of the semester. But at ECC, it's much different because you have midterms, you have pop quizzes that your professors will not tell you about, and most of the stuff you study, you have to study lengthy amount of time because everything's going to be on the final test.
So one of the things at U46 is we got those retakes. And how was that transition? Because I know a lot of people get used to taking retakes at our school for like almost every test, and going to ECC, I'm assuming they probably don't have that.
Oh, yeah.
How did that feel?
It was definitely a shock when I went over to ECC and they were not providing retakes, especially even in my situation, because last semester I had a little bit of a hiccup with my English professor, and he failed me in the class because I was 1 hour late turning in my final essay. So I had to retake it this semester with a speech class on top of that to make up for it.
Yeah.
And so there are no retakes, and everything's a very hard deadline, and you learn very quickly that you are not slacking like you were in high school. There's just no room for that. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you're kind of met with like that harsh reality of everything has its own deadline, and you can't just like take your time and then have to worry about retaking later. Right. I think that's probably a better lesson than having retakes and then slacking through high school.
Of course.
So I want to get into kind of want to get into lifting because I know you're very, very knowledgeable. Like whenever I have like a question about like lifting, I always come to you,
Thank you.
over Snapchat. So I'm thinking about doing a cut this summer.
Okay.
I don't think I've really told very many people, but I want to slim down. I've been bulking for a long time, probably way too long.
Doesn't look like
Um,
it. You're pretty fit now, man.
So what would you say? I know you know a lot about cutting and stuff like that because I've
Right.
seen it on your Snapchat. But how would you start a cut?
So, in my opinion, cuts are really something you have to spread out throughout the year. I used to do a lot of cuts in bulking. I never did what I call main gaining. That's how I would go about starting it. Main gaining just means you are staying at your target body weight that you want to be at, so you can swap out that muscle, or that swap out that fat for muscle, and then you can go from there and make that leaner. A lot of people who do cuts, they try to do it too fast. I know Isaac, I'm not calling him out, but he gained like 15 pounds in a couple months,
Yeah.
and then he wanted to lose it in a couple months, and I'm like, it's just not the way to do it. You have to acquire all that muscle first before you can burn the fat
And
off.
it's a more gradual process than just losing it all at once, right?
It is.
Okay.
You have to learn. You have to learn to know how much your body needs to begin with. So like I eat 3,400 calories a day to maintain my body weight and my muscle. That goes along with protein, but then you have to know that each cut every week you have to have a certain amount of calories less. So finding that target calorie percentage is going to be the hardest part.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been a wrestler since freshman year, and I think that's like totally thrown away my diet, and especially when it comes to cutting. Because my
Yeah.
idea of cutting is like starving most of the week, eating just like lunch and dinner. Which I mean, I already kind of do that, but like when I was in the season and I was cutting, because I had to cut like almost 15 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like I had like 3
And
weeks.
How long was that?
I had like 3 weeks
Okay.
to cut that low. I was wearing like shirts, hoodie.
Just to burn all the
Yeah.
calories off with the sweat. Yeah.
Dude, no, there was practices that I'd be like lose 8 pounds. Oh my gosh. No, I'm gonna have Kyvan on pretty soon, and oh my god, Kyvan pulled off like the impossible. He was supposed to be, because they have like deadlines by when you have to reach a certain weight.
Right.
He had to be 182 by like a certain date, and he went into practice at like 190 something. At the end of practice, he made weight,
No.
and it was like the day of the meet too.
That's like what, eight pounds at least.
Yeah, he lost like damn near 15 pounds.
It's been a lot of water.
Yeah, no, he was running around the school. He was doing everything. I want to get him on the podcast sometime soon because I've been waiting.
Yeah.
But the next day, because after that meet, he went to like Noodles and Company. The next day he was back at like 195.
Yeah, the man's a
Like,
beast.
dude, he ate that weight back. I don't know how he did it.
He's a monster, man.
I don't know how he did. I
Some
don't know.
people just have the stomachs. They just like keep expanding.
They just
man.
expand and then
It's
like
like a balloon.
and then after that it's just like a vacuum. It just like comes back. I don't know how he did that. But we're talking about lifting. What are your maxes right now?
I actually haven't maxed since last October, around my birthday, and that's only because I've been trying to build shape more than build strength right now.
Yes.
I used to be classified as a power lifter and calisthenics person, but that really changed throughout me being at ECC, just because they don't have the equipment available
Yeah.
to load on that really heavy weight and be safe about it, because they don't have any belts. Like their racks are very wobbly. It's just not a good time in that gym. So yeah, I've been focusing on trying to do all my accessory lifts and get all of the muscle fatigue and hypertrophy out the way, so I can finally start lifting explosive power.
Yeah. So when did you first start lifting? I'm assuming probably around freshman year, but correct me if I'm wrong.
It was around 8th grade when I started.
8th grade.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Casually though.
casually. So it wasn't like every day.
No, it was like maybe once or twice a week, especially trying to get ready for the off-season training.
Yeah. Okay. So when did you start when did you start your regiment, I would say?
That would have been second semester of freshman year. I think really, was it Mr. Baker? Mr. Baker was
I
my
forgot
freshman
about him.
year gym class teacher, and he was an amazing coach and trainer. He taught me everything I needed to know about form, and nobody really listens in the strength and performance classes.
No.
They always do their own thing, but I really listened to him, and he provided me with a lot of knowledge and info that I needed to take in.
I had him freshman year, and was that freshman year? Yeah, I had him freshman year, and we went into COVID second semester.
Yeah.
So then everything was on Volt, and I just started slacking. I really he wanted us to send videos, and I would do push-ups. It would just be
that's what he asked for.
Yeah, that's what he'd ask for, but it'd be bare minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think of those Volt training apps?
I honestly didn't do too many.
Yeah. Yeah.
I preferred to do my own workouts. And since it was COVID, I believe they didn't bump our grade down.
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't really much motivation to go for more.
Yeah. Well, regardless, that's when I started day-to-day training.
Yeah, I think that COVID period is when, especially coming back from that COVID period, that's when a bunch of beasts just emerge.
Yeah.
Because you come from you go from freshman to junior year, and those kids that were real small, freshman year, they come back junior year, and all they did was lift. They did was lift sophomore year, and I've never
the growth rate was insane.
And it's the same thing with they look completely different. They went from having short hair to a lot of people got real long, all the way down here.
Me.
Or a center part. Yeah, literally you. But yeah, I don't know if you guys know Mickey, but yeah, Mickey. Everyone had Mickey hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was crazy. So how has your idea of staying in shape changed as you started lifting? Because I know mine has.
Yeah. I think the number one thing that has changed with me going throughout the years and learning what I needed to know was that you need to take care of your mobility. And staying in shape doesn't mean you can just lift a explosive amount of power or weight explosively. And when you realize that your range of motion is going to be affected when you're not training mobility, hip trainers, you want to do calisthenic exercises to stretch lower back, dead hangs. All of that plays into a factor of how much weight you can actually lift and how quickly you're going to be fatigued throughout your sets. So that's the biggest thing. I started doing yoga, and that really helped me. I think it was 15 minutes a day. I don't do it as often anymore just because I'm not doing that absurd amount of weight anymore. Yeah. But mobility is one of the biggest factors to do.
Okay. I think that's really cool because I'm in martial arts myself. So we do a lot of splits. We do a lot of stretching and stuff. Every single practice that I go to, that's what we do. The first 10 minutes is just stretching. Yeah. I think there's a lot of power lifters and people that I know that don't stretch before they lift. I mean, I don't, but I stretch when I go before I go run, before I do heavy cardio, a lot of cardio and stuff like that. But
and you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right?
I did for one summer.
Okay.
But that was it. I've been wanting to go back. I was talking to Zan, and yeah, he's like, dude, you should come back. And I'm like, dude, I really want to. But that is one of the most physically demanding sports out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's I think we talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Any martial arts that hand to hand really is the only realistic kind of fighting style, and it would only be realistic because of how they fight.
This is exactly what I was talking about with Kyle, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think especially boxing, especially boxing, because when you get into boxing, I mean, no, you know, jujitsu. I've seen especially like the older UFC guys. That's what they do. They get on their butt and they start scooting.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm gonna grab your leg, but
They're always
real
better on the
life,
ground.
that's never gonna. You're not gonna fall. Like that's not gonna happen. You're
Yeah.
gonna go for like the 1-2, maybe jab cross, and then you're gonna run away because you don't want to get stabbed or something, or shot.
But knowing how to, rear naked choke someone is
Yes.
pretty cool.
Yes.
I gotta
yes.
admit.
That's definitely something. That's a good tool to have. So how has I wanna ask, like, we're talking about like all of this. How is like this, like lifting, staying in shape, stuff like that? How has that affected your mentality? Because I think like a strong body is a strong mind.
Oh, of course. My discipline has definitely increased. I have more motivation to do things throughout the day. I know if I can get my ass in the gym, then everything else throughout the day is going to be like smooth, and
Yes.
it gets me into a rhythm.
Yes, I think that's definitely something because I talk to a lot of, because I'm a runner, or I was a runner. I don't really consider myself a runner anymore because I don't like running no more. But yeah, a lot of runners, that's what they talk about. It's like they go and they run real early in the morning, and then the rest of the day is easy for them.
Right.
That's like the same. I think that's the same mentality you're
It's
kind
like
of
a
talking
wake-up
about.
call, yeah.
Yeah, it's a wake up call. So for what is the reason that you lift? Is it for your mind or is it for your body?
I think it's a little bit of both. Just like we discussed, it's good to have that rhythm and discipline throughout the day and the motivation. But it's just for me to have a healthy lifestyle, and that also comes along with diet. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit too. But for me, like, lifting is improving yourself to the best of your abilities, and I just want to be the best that I can.
I 100% agree with that. That's a good mentality to have. So yeah, you were saying that we're gonna talk about diet. So
Good
what
segue.
does your diet look like right now?
Right now it's not too hot. I really slacked during the prom season, and just going out more.
Yeah.
But ideally, I would say 5 eggs in the morning. I usually have a cup of spinach. With that, just
Popeye.
get the iron in. Oh yeah, man! I'm telling you, spinach is like the ultimate hack to get your iron in, and magnesium. So it's eggs, maybe some toast in the for breakfast, and then I'll have like a sandwich for lunch. I like making my own food. I don't really ever go out, and then at dinner it's like chicken and potatoes, or it's basically just chicken. I'm not gonna lie, or fish in a salad. All of those lean meats, and stay away from the red meats, but you can have them on a bulk.
Yeah.
That's what my diet looks like right now. Some sort of.
Yeah. I have like I was talking to Danny about this, like a long, what episode was that? Episode 4 maybe? I don't know. I was talking to Danny Martin, and I was telling him that I eat a lot of those mega meals. I mean, I know like
What's a mega meal?
Microwave meals aren't the best, but it's got fried chicken,
Oh,
and it is so good, dude.
the microwave dinners.
Yeah, it's got mac and cheese, and it's got the chicken. It's like 32 grams of like protein. I mean, it's pretty solid.
For a microwave dinner, I doubt it has 30 grams of protein.
I don't know how it does. I don't know how.
That is crazy.
It's so good, dude.
That's gotta be rich in fat though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll make you feel real bloated after.
Yeah. I put hot sauce on there. I was talking about hot sauce with Kyle. Do you like hot stuff?
Oh, for sure. I'm Puerto Rican, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
My mom was Puerto Rican.
Me too.
And yeah, we're brothers right here. For my birthday, I actually asked for a hot sauce collection. I could probably send you a picture of that later to put in, but it was it was from Costco, I think. It was like hot sauce around the world, and there was like 11 different countries that had hot sauces in the box, and like I like collecting stuff like that. It's just kind of cool to me.
Yeah.
But also, it's just I love hot stuff, so
Yeah.
it lasts me a while.
I started my hot journey like
Yeah.
last year-ish. We like the first time that I went to. Actually, no, maybe a little before that, because we'd get like those chicken wings from like Jewel Osco, It's just like
And Chicken Mondays.
Yeah. We get that bucket of chicken, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, these are so hot. And my mom's like, no, they're not. I'm like, damn. Now I look back and I'm like, those weren't hot at all.
You were really
like,
trying to
yeah,
control chicken.
Yeah, it was just like they call them the wing zings. But yeah, now looking back, that stuff was not hot. And then I started going to like Wingstop, and they got some real hot ones there. Same with B-Dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
I always try to get like every time I go there, I try to get like one step hotter. Yeah. Just to see if I can handle it, and I always come out and I'm like sweating.
Man, I don't know how you can handle those Wingstop wings, because I DoorDash there sometimes, and I'm picking up the order and I smell the bag and it's like, holy shit. Like, what are you ordering? It's gonna come right out your.
And they give you fries too, and it's like those don't help.
No, they have way too much seasoning every time.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because those and they're greasy too. Those French fries.
They are.
Michael, what's the name of the sauce that I get at Wingstop?
Cajun.
Yeah, I get the Cajun sauce, and that stuff is like red.
Yeah, dude, it looks like blood on the chicken.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. But yeah, that one gets me real sweaty, and I get like 15. Do I get 15? Yeah, I get 15 wings, and I split them half medium, half Cajun, I think, something like that. And bro. Like,
just to even it out a little bit.
Yeah, because like I eat a Cajun and then I gotta eat a medium just to get it down. Just to get it down, and I'm like drinking water and stuff. I haven't been there in a while.
I feel like most people would say that they like some sort of heat, but not everybody can actually handle the heat, Yeah. Because I met people that are like, oh yeah, I'll eat some hot stuff. And then I bring them out some like habanero stuff, like stuff jalapenos or something, and then they're like, "Oh, I meant like some Frank's Red Hot."
Yeah, or like or some like Takis or something.
Yeah,
but
that's weird.
I've made my way. So we at my house here, we do you know like Marie Sharp's?
No.
They have like a really good hot sauce. So we started from the normal hot sauce, and they got like fiery hot. Then what's after that? Like very hot or something? I don't know. It goes up, and then the final one that we got was like Belizean heat.
Yeah. Dude,
I feel like once I got to Belizean heat, it was like really hot, and then I started eating it, and it's like now it's not hot anymore. I was dousing it, dude. I was
killing your taste buds.
Yeah. No, but it was.
Wow, man, it just
I love it now. I love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Okay, I want to get into like your mindset, because I know you're talking about like how your mindset has like gotten a little stronger. You're more disciplined, especially when you're like lifting and stuff. So, how has your mindset like progressed since your freshman year?
Obviously, to state the obvious, actually, we've all gotten a little more mature. And we realize that some things just won't work out. I'm just talking about life in general. Some things you got to leave behind, some things you got to think about sooner than you may have thought you would. My mindset has changed as like, I'm just not going to think about something until it's important. All right. I really think that people worrying in the future for stuff that they have no control over is one of the biggest things that makes everybody sad and miserable throughout their day, and I really had to cut that out of my life.
I think
bad influence.
Yeah. I see the same thing on like, I don't know if it's like this. It's not really like looking into your future. It's like looking at the world around you. Because I see like the same thing on like Snapchat or Instagram. A lot of people post like all these problems that they see happening around the world and stuff, and at the end of the day, like these problems don't really affect you. Like,
yeah.
I mean, probably until you're an adult, or if you live in this country, or if you live in this state, it's not going to affect you like right now. You got to focus on bringing yourself up, and then you can worry about that, right?
Right. I totally agree with that.
That's my mentality right now.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh boy. And there's a lot of things I would ideally be doing. I really wanted to start my own business. I don't know what I'd create, but the thought of having a business that's under my name and a company, a Fortune 500 company, maybe, hopefully.
Hell yeah.
Being a millionaire, that's our kind of mindsets. I think are very alike in that sense that we know we'll get what we want. Sorry.
Yes.
But that comes at a cost of time, and just how much time is the question.
Yeah, me and Anthony were having a conversation a few weeks ago, and we were just like, we will be millionaires. We will be millionaires before we die.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we were just like, in our 20s, we're just gonna be working on it, we're just be chipping away. We're gonna be millionaires soon.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, people aren't gonna understand that, but like we just have like that mentality in here, and it's just we just know that if we're committed enough, that we're gonna get it. Is that what you think?
Yeah, I think it's very different from what a lot of people think nowadays. They want to have their fun. Right?
Yeah.
They want to
exactly.
go out. They want to in their 20s. They want to drink. They want to live that college life. And I just never really found like peace in that. I think that's very weird way to look at life. You need to attack it with full force and while you're young, so you can live and reap out those benefits when you're older.
So you got to build that foundation.
Yeah.
And who was I watching? If you know like Iman Gaji, do you know him?
No, I don't.
So he's an influencer. He's a millionaire. He's the guy that like he does all his like run your own agency and stuff like that. You've probably seen that, but
does he work with Andrew Tate or?
No, not really. He's a bit younger. He's his own guy.
Okay.
But he was talking about how like things you should avoid in your 20s, and yeah, it's a lot of the stuff you're talking about, like drugs, alcohol. You should try to stay away from like being too out there with girls if you're like just like
no, that's another
because they can influence you and stuff like that. But yeah, he was talking about specifically with like alcohol. You can avoid alcohol through your 20s, but the thing he was talking about was once you get to like millionaire status and you're around other millionaires, you'll notice that when they make deals and stuff, they always have like some kind of alcoholic beverage, which I thought was kind of interesting. What do you think about that?
I haven't heard too much about that, but honestly, some people say that when you're drunk, you have your drunk words are sober thoughts. People might be more relaxed. It's like I think of that as like the analogy of, people sometimes say that painters and like construction people, or especially, I don't want to be stereotypical, but Mexicans, they drink on the job.
Yeah. Yeah. I know
and I think that's to calm the nerves is what the stereotype is. So I feel like that's a little stereotype for just the rich people.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, I think you're right. That might just be a stereotype, but I definitely thought that it was interesting because, like, drinking alcohol, doing all that, it's a very, like, expensive habit, and then once you get to the point where, like, nothing's expensive anymore, then they start the habit. I think it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to do that because if I make it to that spot and I made it that far without doing it, I don't see any point in starting. You know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, it's bad for your body in every way to drink. I think I told you about this a comparison a while back. Excuse me. People who drink, you can put like 100 men in a room and give them one bottle of beer, and they'll fight over it. All right, and they'll kill each other at the throat for it. But you give them maybe like some weed or other kinds of drugs that aren't harmful to your body in that regard. People will always be chill. You can put two enemies in the room with a joint, and you can have a good time.
Yeah, the thing is with like a joint, you can pass that around, right? and like with alcohol, it's just like you're done, right? Micah, can you refill this, by the way? But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Another thing is what class was this? I don't know, but we were talking about how maybe I saw this in like a Joe Rogan experience or something, but he was talking about how out of like all the drugs that are legal and stuff and the ones that aren't illegal, that it's weird that like out of everything, marijuana just became legal, even though it's like way less harmful than alcohol and cigarettes.
Yeah.
Which I mean I don't remember like the specific ranking of how dangerous each one is, but I'm pretty sure that alcohol is probably the most dangerous.
It's definitely most dangerous in like amount of people impaired at the wheel, people impaired in domestic violence.
Yes.
And it leads them to do things that they wouldn't normally do. It just it expresses their emotions at that moment way too much, and I think that it's actually, not to go off on a tangent here, but it's part of a government's plot to control us. Honestly, I had a talk with my professor in speech class a couple weeks ago, and the fact that marijuana has no ODs or some other life-saving drugs, psilocybin, my bad, has therapeutic benefits, and people shame people who use that too.
Yeah.
But alcohol is used in social settings everywhere.
It's like
and
recreational.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Another thing that I've been noticing, like around, especially on like the internet, you see people are promoting more like psychedelic drugs.
Right.
Have you seen that too?
Yeah. I actually did a presentation on it in my
Really?
speech class. Just because they're being studied more. They're actually like I said before, psilocybin is I believe it's a Class A drug. So there's not any human testing available for it because it has such a severe effect on the body. So without that testing, we can't.
You're not sure.
We can't overturn the legality of using it without the testing. So it's just a very vicious cycle for most drugs, and I think that's kind of a bad place to be in the U.S. because we're taught that we need to be proactive in our visions and use what we have available to help you.
Yeah, I think Okay, I'm never gonna. I don't think I'll ever take a psychedelic drug because I'm personally against drugs, but I feel like it'd be so much fun. Like that's the problem with me with drugs because I'll never take them because I know that I'm gonna have so much fun if I take them.
It depends on what kind of drug. I mean, if you're taking cocaine and heroin.
No. That might be like one and done because I might die.
Yeah.
Those are drugs that like I will not mess with. I will not like touch cocaine. I will not touch any of that because
but like the intermediate ones like shrooms or acid. I mean those is a little more tame. You just need to have a little bit more respect for your body when you're taking them.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
You got to eat something.
I just know that I'll have way too much fun and I'll be like, when can I do it again? That'd be crazy. So I think my last question, like a long time ago, was asking where you were gonna be when you're in 10 years. What are you planning to do after high school, or after college? Because you're in ECC, right?
I wanted to go to DePaul. I wanted to transfer after my spring semester when I have enough credits, or maybe it might be next fall. Either way, it's one more year, and excuse me. I wanted to go to DePaul because I wanted to get a business degree, 4-year, but I think the student loans really hold me back. I don't want to have all that debt on me. I know we always talk about how the rich uses debt as leverage to get to a higher place eventually, but me being rich doesn't come at a cost of being $40,000 in debt for 2 years.
I totally agree.
I think I might go down a different path. I might go to a vocational school instead. It's just I got to play it by ear and see how
vocational
it goes.
as in
you get to pick what you
okay.
What you do. You learn what classes you take for a certain job.
Okay.
Not just a overarching
degree. That's one of the things I've always had against college is like the loans, and it's just a commitment to like 4 years of like maybe I'll make it out and get a good job.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll just like get like the minimal level at this company and then I'll work my way up, and then maybe by the time I'm 60 I'll be making like good money.
Right. And
which I think that's too much of a commitment too early.
It definitely is, and I think I had an interesting conversation with Isaiah Sapote. I don't know if you know him.
I love him.
And he was talking about how school really teaches you to just follow a strict curriculum, and you don't have any variance in what you are allowed to think. And then when you get out of high school, you go to a college that teaches you basically the same stuff, just more advanced, and then you go off and get a job that might not be good paying. So it's exactly what you're saying. I totally agree. I think that our high schools need to have a curriculum change. I'm not sure what, but college is required for some jobs. Like I wouldn't trust a dentist to
100%.
I wouldn't trust a
100%,
dentist
bro.
with a GDE. You know, it's something that you got to think about going into each profession.
I was actually during English class. I actually have a dual credit English class, which is kind of funny because you're in dual credit. But I was in that English class. I wrote a paper on literally exactly what we're talking about. How college is.
The topic was actually like if the school system was effective.
Yeah.
And I went through like the history of how it was created, and it was like, you know, the modern one, I don't know how true it is, but I saw something. It was Horace Mann, right? It was Horace Mann that made the system, and it's based on like the Industrial Revolution and having like good workers and stuff like that, and that's how they mold you like early on. And then I got into like just like, you know, the statistics and stuff, and I was just like blown away by how many people came out of college and were not ready for anything, and like a lot of them were making less than like, yeah, I think the statistic of people that came out of college and got a job immediately and they were making less than the people that just went straight into a job from high school.
Wow.
That's the statistic that I found, and it just blew me away because, you know, like especially since we were kids, we've been hearing go to college and you'll be making a lot of money soon, right? But it's flipped. I mean, now I think.
Yeah, I have to ask, does that go off of structural unemployment?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure. It was like a PDF that I found from like a government website or something, but it was kind of crazy.
Well, I have some thoughts about those, saying that you make more money out of high school than college in some cases. I think on the flip side of that, high school diplomas with just underlying experience with like welding or some sort of tech,
like Isaiah.
STEM academy, that does good for you in the beginning, and it might be good long term with pensions and all that. But you will never reach that amount of salary that you get from a college degree, and going into a profession that requires one.
That's fair enough. Yeah,
I think
you were talking about Isaiah Zapote, which I find kind of funny because he was it him that was like a few days ago he posted something like. Did you see that?
He was like replied to his story.
Yeah, I did reply to his story. Yeah, I was like, don't go to college, pursue a trade or something.
Exactly
that was so funny. Wait, was that you or was that him?
That was him, but I replied in that story I told you. Just earlier.
That was, dude. I thought that was so funny because it's just like so bold of him to say.
Yeah.
I think you're right though, because coming out of high school, pursuing a trade, you make a certain baseline salary, and then I don't think does it go up very much when you get higher, and then you're talking about college when you get out, and then you pursue a job, and then eventually you progressively make more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
But the only problem with that, I would say, is that you have to wait until you're like 65, 70 to retire, and then you finally retire.
I feel like who was I talking to on this podcast that I was like, the goal in life as an American is to have a family and then, you know, have a job and then retire.
Yeah, I mean,
why not retire sooner?
Because I think we are meant to stay poor if we are poor. The government needs poor people. The government needs a middle class, and depending on how many workers are in the labor force, I mean, you have jobs that are going to be filled up just like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's a shame that we have a lot of unspent talent, but not everybody
100%.
can be those millionaires. Just the ones that work the hardest.
I think there's another that's another thing because I was listening to a TikTok, not the most credible source, but somebody was talking about that us like lower class people, they still work hard. The only problem is they're not putting their work into the right things that will put them towards success because they're cleaning houses, they're like taking out trash, there's garbage men, but they're still doing hard work. The thing is they're not like setting up a business. They're not doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think they have more of an employee mentality.
Yes.
And
Yes, exactly.
I think that feeds into the schooling system as well. Just backtracking a little bit, like you said, they were molded at a young age to follow instructions and shut up and listen. Instead of, like you said, maybe a person cleaning a house for a job, maybe they start their own business. But some people are just too afraid to take that step, and that mindset is where it comes in again.
I think, it's noble to start somewhere like that, though, I think, but once you get older, I think you should progress, and then eventually you'll set up a good enough structure to have a family, right?
Right.
Do you ever plan on like having a family situation?
Oh boy. With my past, I do want my own kids eventually. I used to think that I wanted to adopt, but I don't think that's the thing for me. I have an uncle who been through 14, 15 foster homes, and he got in a lot of trouble. I know how some kids need another chance, and I almost went through that as well. But I as I got older, I just wanted to get my own bloodline going too. I wanted to keep my name alive for the sake of me and my family.
Yeah, I think that's gotta be one of the most important things that we can do as like human beings is like having a legacy.
Yeah.
I think that's like.
It's the most important thing
That's
to me.
the number one most important thing, I think.
Yeah. How will you be remembered?
Yeah. So how are you gonna achieve your goals? What's like the steps that you're gonna take?
See, like I said, I played by ear, but the standard plan would be to get my associates here at ECC, and then whatever I feel like I can put that degree to, I will go to. I have an internship opportunity with my uncle possibly. I could do internship programs at ECC, and then that'll get me the experience I need to to get into a real job. And I think that's very important to realize that you can't just go into a job with no experience, even though you have the education to do it.
I think that's very important because I'm trying to get the same thing. My uncle's trying to set me. It's literally the same exact situation. He's trying to set me up with the internship somewhere. Yeah. But I think getting the experience over like the textbook learning is more important.
Exactly.
100%, right? So what would your dream job be?
Oh. My dream job would be an entrepreneur, making my own product, my own service, something along the lines of that. Or I would be like a software engineer, developer. So it's kind of like back to my childhood, what I wanted to do. But I always was fascinated by the computers and having AI do what you want it to do, run scripts, all of that. And I think that's fun.
What do you think about AI and like everything that's happening right now?
The craziest thing to me right now is, I think we talked about it a little bit, is the AI that's making music. You can take samples of artists and make their own songs with their own lyrics, and that's crazy to me. The industry has gone so far, and our audio matching is great. Our CGI is getting better. Yeah. AI is gonna have to replace some people in the future. Dude, I like AI better than people.
I like how you mentioned AI making music, because there's a rapper out there. I don't know if you've heard of him. It's like MK something, but
Machine Gun Kelly.
No, but he's like 100% AI. He's not even a real person. Like, a company made him, and he just like makes music.
I'm gonna have to see some samples of this.
Yeah,
later.
I don't remember his name, but he's crazy. He's like they made him a combination of like, he's not Lil Pump and like
Little Pump. That's the worst
6ix9ine and like some other people, and it's like a bunch of artists, and I forgot his name. I can't remember his name, but I was like, dang, he sounds like he actually sounds like them, like combined, and it's crazy.
That's kind of weird, man.
And it's not like he's using their lyrics, but he has the same tone, and he's making his own. He's like freestyling basically, and he's not even a real person. He's an AI.
I would love to see a robot freestyle, man. Like everybody has human errors, you know, and you get the stutter now and then when you're freestyling. But I loved listening to like Juice WRLD freestyle. I think he was the king.
Yeah.
Mac Miller was good. Little Dicky.
Yeah.
That was a pretty.
Even with AI, they're making new Juice WRLD verses and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Which is crazy. I never thought that would happen. It's like it's almost like he's making new music. It's crazy.
I liked listening to. I mean, I don't go on TikTok too much, but just like I do go on there a little bit. And I saw those like President Joe Biden like TikToks with the AI.
I love those. Yeah.
Man,
those are so funny.
Those get me every time.
I love those. Those are so funny.
So yeah, there are some practical uses, but overall I think AI is going to be a little bit of a problem in the future.
Yeah, I was listening to Elon and Joe Rogan. I don't remember what episode that was, but they were talking about how, you know, sometime in the future, I don't know how far, but you know, Elon's pushing that Neuralink.
Yeah.
Where like you can.
Is it that chip in your brain?
Yeah, it's like a chip in your brain somewhere. They do some wiring or something. I don't know how it works. But yeah, soon we're not even gonna have to like verbally talk. We're just gonna
just think to each other.
We're just gonna think towards you. I feel like that could be a problem. That could get out of hand pretty quickly. But I think that's kind of crazy, especially with like there's that, and then there's AI coming, and it's just gonna be a crazy future.
I think so too. It's I don't want to be. This might be controversial to say, but I don't want to be alive too long. Because once you get to an age,
you're kind of scared, right?
Once you get to an age where you're decrepit and you can't do shit about your life, you see all this new stuff popping up, and then you just get that old timey feeling.
I know what you mean.
Man, in 100 years they're gonna have, you know, some robot strippers at the club. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
like,
no.
I don't know if I can, you know, be in that life.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but like, even with that, like, what if that's like a thing where like we're talking to somebody, like in person, and we don't know if they're a real person or not. I feel like that's a problem. I feel like that's a problem with like. I'm not gonna say a problem. I don't want to get canceled, but some people have this problem. Some people have this problem where they're talking to like a girl, and then they find out that it's a dude, and it's too late. It's too late,
bro.
I don't want to get canceled, but I feel like what if you're talking to a girl, and you find out that she's a robot? Or something like that. That would be crazy, right?
In some states, finding out that a transgender woman is actually a man is considered rape by deception. And so would the robot rape you is the question.
That would be terrifying. That would be terrifying. They already have like robots for that, right? They already have robots.
Sure they do.
Oh my God, we're getting into some crazy shit. This is crazy. Okay. How are you gonna protect your kids from this type of not that robot rape shit, but this crazy future that we're gonna go into?
What more specifically are you referring to?
Like AI. You know, like people are getting crazier and crazier by the day. You know.
No, you're right. I think when I was young, I always had a strict I had strict grandparents because I lived with my grandparents. They used to like I didn't get a phone until I was really really old. Well, considering everybody had a phone in like 4th grade, but I think that parenting your child with a strict attitude when they're young,
Yes.
it plays out very well when they're older and they understand why you did some of those things.
Yes.
And they don't, they carry on that lesson, and they don't take advantage of things that they have as a privilege, you know. And just like a technology, I would want to put screen time on my kid's phone. I would want to block certain websites. I don't want them
100%,
exposed to,
dude.
and teach them about just media in general and then truths and what's truth and a lie.
I've heard this. This is kind of like gender roles almost, but you know, like the mom is the one who raises you to be a boy, and the dad is who raises you to be a man. I think, as like a father, it's kind of like your job to instill like certain beliefs and values and like teach them about like life, but where like the mom is supposed to like hear out your feelings and you know, talk to you about stuff like that. More like emotional. Like she brings you up from being like a baby to being like maybe your teenage years, and then your dad's who like talks to you. You know, has those serious conversations and tells you like what kind of life you want to live. Is that the kind of like father figure that you want to be? That like kind of just gives like life advice and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I want to be the dad to my kids, either it be a daughter or a son. I want them to come to me when they have any sort of problems, even when they're young. When they're older and they're out of childhood, I never had that, as you know, but I think we learn by example, and the example that I was taught was what not to do. So I know exactly what not to do.
So from knowing what not to do, you know what to do and how to implement that.
Yeah. I want to support my kids. Yeah.
So are you gonna be a very strict dad?
I want to be a fun dad. Okay?
You want to be a fun dad?
I think the strictness comes just with everyday life, but there's a difference between being strict and controlling. You're strict for a reason, for a good reason, for protection, and controlling is just a power move.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I see what you mean. Cause I see that a lot, like with my friends, and they're like, oh no, I can't be out past 8. I'm like,
you got a curfew at 18.
8 o'clock, like p.m. Like wait, hold on, what? But yeah, I'm like, what does that? Who's gonna be out at like 8 doing something they shouldn't be doing? I don't know where did you get to the point where like that was your parents needed to do that, and then now they're enforcing that. I don't know, but I think it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
What's
Actually, I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
How many kids do you want?
That's a good question. I'd say 2 or more. I've always wanted to have a daughter. I don't think I've ever told anyone that.
Do you want to have a daughter and a son?
Yeah.
It's all luck.
Yeah. A daughter and a son. A son that I want to raise to be better than me. And then a daughter, because I feel like I hear a lot of people saying that, you know, they never want to have a daughter because, you know, they're afraid of like all the things that would happen, and like
now that OnlyFans is out.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I want to have a daughter because I want to protect her from that, and so I want to teach her like, you know, that's not what you should be doing. I want to, you know, because I'm Christian, I want to instill like those beliefs in her, so she knows what to look for and what to stay away from. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's important.
Do you think enforcing like a mindset or a religion on your child is appropriate? Like, I know a lot of people like grow up in a Christian household or something, and they only think that way. They're not allowed to like breathe and create their own space when they're young. So
I know what you mean, but I'm gonna talk from my experience because that's all that I know.
Right.
I did grow up in a Christian household. I don't think I've told very many people this, but you know, I did stray away from like Christian beliefs for like a year, and like maybe like last year and then this year, I kind of like I realized how wrong I was because I was seeing everything that was happening around the world, and I was seeing that a lot of it was in the face of like just the devil. And you know, like you're seeing like you're seeing like a lot of stuff, and you're seeing degeneracy, and I think that can be contributed in like a satanic like way. And if Satan is real, then there has to be a God that to combat that, because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
That's my understanding.
Balance in the world.
So, and another thing that's good about having like a religious base, I don't think you're not very religious, are you?
No, I'm an atheist.
Okay, but my thinking is, it's good to have at least bare minimum have like a religious base, because it instills morals into you that other people don't have, because you see degeneracy, and a lot of that is in the name, no offense, of atheism. And so, with atheism, I don't want to.
No.
I'm not trying to be harsh, but there's a lot of stuff going around in the world that is in the name of atheism and is against like Christianity, and I think degeneracy as a whole is anti-Christian, and that makes me believe more in Christianity, because it's in the Bible and stuff like that. I think I kind of went off on a tangent there.
No, I think there's a couple of things I'd like to address, and especially with the morals thing. I think people have the same morals for with religion or without religion.
Yeah,
it's
I think I want to say
where
that
they get it from.
I want to say that you're an exception, because you have like this mindset that's just so, you've been through so much that it wouldn't make sense for you not to have morals. Otherwise, like, I don't know. What do you think is like the most beneficial that you've learned like in life that contributes to your mindset?
I think, that's a hard question.
Yeah.
Wasn't prepared for this one. I think learning to not count on others when you know it's mostly going to be you.
Yes.
Is a really good. It's a really good idea to keep in your head, especially when you think you can lean on others. Sometimes they may, be going behind your back, and
That goes deep.
Yeah.
I can agree with that, but I feel like you should have faith in your friends, but at the same time, you should be prepared when they're not like gonna fulfill what they said they're gonna do. You know what I mean?
Right, but it's not just friends and relationships. It could be you're at work and your employee being told to do something, and you think you have help with your assistant manager or something, and then you don't. You got to be on your own, and you got to know that whatever you do and whatever you embark on is going to be all you.
Yes. I see. My dad tells me stories about this all the time, because he's in charge of a few people at his work.
Yeah.
And he's constantly doing other people's work and other people's stuff, and it's just like, that sounds so stressful.
It's
But yeah, I think that's a lesson that he's learned, and he's just like matured over that, because he's just used to it now. I want to end this podcast with, I ask this to everyone. What advice would you want to, like, whether it's lifting, life advice, any kind of advice you have?
I think I'll go with lifting. One of the biggest things that I stress with a lot of people that have asked me questions, they want me to train them. I think that they have a misconception that your work ethic in the gym is going to be everything, and it's not. It's about getting that cardio in. It's about keeping your steps up throughout the day, and the diet too. It's not just about being in the gym lifting heavy ass weight. You're not going to be looking your best, and you need to keep that diet strict.
I think another thing is, you're talking about work ethic. I think another thing is also, if you go into the gym and you're just like, I'm gonna lift this weight, I'm gonna do all this. But another thing is like precision. You got to make sure you're doing the right form, because otherwise you're not hitting the right muscles and all of that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And isometric holds. Those are keeping tension on the muscle on your rep and holding it under pressure for an amount of time. I think that's a big thing too for grip strength and stability for every workout. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. I was watching this.
I don't know if you've seen this YouTube channel. I don't remember what it's called, but they do like a lot of they run studies, and they get like a bunch of people, and then they have them do like, one group does workouts an exercise one way, and then another group does an exercise another way, and they see like how that affects the muscle group specifically. And the one that comes to mind is like for like dumbbell curls, like going like this.
Yeah.
I was watching it, and they said, so one group was doing just normal curls like this. The other group was doing the curls, and then like when they hit failure, they start doing like half reps like this.
Right.
And they saw a huge difference, because the people that were doing those half reps were actually, their bicep like got bigger.
Yeah, it's a bigger pump, and it's just a simple principle. It's time under tension. The longer you're going to keep contracting that muscle, the more it's going to grow. It's going to actually tear. That's what growing your muscles does. You tear the fibers, and then they grow back stronger. It's like scar tissue.
I thought that was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
I do a lot of negatives for any of my workouts, like pull-ups. It's a great idea. If you want to start doing pull-ups, do negative pull-ups, and that just means you're jumping up to a bar and then slowly going down. Whatever movement you're doing, you can apply that to.
That's cool. I've never thought about that. So
Yeah.
you're like, you jump and you're up, and then it's just like slowly go down.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think that's a good place to end it. What do you think?
I think we talked about a lot today.
We got a lot down.
I love talking with Eli about everything and anything, and we always have good topics.
We gotta get you back, because we gotta get into some of these conspiracy theories, bro. I know we talk a little bit, but I think you got a lot more to say.
I do. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Goal is Swole podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to drop a like. And if you want to stay up to date on any future episodes, make sure to subscribe and click on that notification button. Next week, we're going to be having Principal Michael Domofsky get on, and he's going to be giving us his origin story, as well as how he became the hero that he is today.